It is exactly 8:24 a.m. News and views right here on Salam Media. Our next guest is CEO of Southern African Agri Initiative, and that is you, Francois Rossouw. Very good morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Julian. Good morning to your listeners.
Okay, we are in a very, very worrying situation. We're looking at the issue around the shortage of animal vaccines in South Africa, and obviously it's going to have a huge impact on meat prices, I should imagine. We understand that there seems to be an outbreak, or maybe not an outbreak, but we have got a situation of a shortage of the blue tongue vaccine. So, when we look at that and we look at the bigger picture, does this impact on all livestock or is it only cattle?
Julia, I think, first of all, we've been very lucky as a country to not have had an extreme outbreak of blue tongue or Rift Valley fever in this past season. I think we should look at it as a problem as a whole, because a company that is a state-owned company, Onderstepoort Biological Products, they produce these vaccines, and they've got the sole right of just to name a few of these two vaccines. And that has caused a problem because there are extreme shortages of this vaccine. And yes, of course, the problem is going to shift to the consumer if there is an outbreak of this disease, like we saw with the foot and mouth disease outbreak last year. But the bigger issue for me, and something that we are extremely concerned about, is animal health in South Africa as a whole. Because you see, animal health has to be treated as a closed system. Each year, every animal has to be vaccinated for each and every disease that it could be possibly exposed to. And that creates a closed system of health within the animal fraternity. And it causes that these animals stay safe and stay healthy and do not infect each other or cause a ripple effect down the value chain. But more than that, because farmers are not getting access to these vaccines, we are making criminals out of these farmers. Because you see, I had the case last week, Friday, where a farmer went to auction and he had to tick off this box that said, yes, I did everything in my power to ensure my animal's health. And he phoned me and he said, but I cannot tick this box because I cannot get access to vaccines. And part of that requirement in that tick box exercise is that I vaccinate my animals to ensure their animal health. And if you do not tick that box, and if you do not vaccinate in most of these cases, it's a criminal offense. Now, that farmer is totally reliant on every Friday's auctions, because the income there is to provide for his family, to pay his bills. So that is my deeper concern, and it all stems down back. It comes back down to Onderstepoort Biological Products, who are not able to provide these vaccines when they are necessary.
That's a very sad situation, is it not? Because in the past, let's just Onderstepoort, got that right,
OBP for
we're
short.
supplying, sorry?
We just call it OBP for short.
OBP, there you go.
Yes.
I don't need tongue twisters so early in the morning. Uh, Obviously, they were supplying all our neighboring African countries with vaccines. Why do I find ourselves in a situation like this? And we're also hearing that we now have a direct competitor, and that's in Botswana. They've set up their own state of the art vaccine facility. Is that further going to impact on OBP? What is going on here? Why did we let this situation actually happen? We were the leaders in Africa, and now all of a sudden we're on the back foot.
Yeah, Julie, look, first of all, I'm very wary of any vaccines that are being produced in another country, because that country does not have the same type of disease that is in South Africa. It does not have the same genetic material. So we need to develop South African vaccines for South African diseases to inoculate our animals. Then, with regards to the allegations of Onderstepoort selling to other countries, we have heard this as well. They are under immense financial pressures, and I could see why a organization or a company like them would go for higher profits than rather than providing locally at a much lower cost. From our side, we launched a Public Access to Information Act application on the 20th of January because we are really concerned about what is going to happen, especially again after the foot and mouth disease outbreaks, and that there was nothing that we could do about it. We were concerned about other diseases. And we sent that application on the 20th of January. We've had 2 internal appeals since then. And Onderstepoort has denied each and every of these applications of ours. And on the 24th of May, they just sent us a letter and said, look, yes, we are a state-owned enterprise. Yes, you can get access. You're supposed to get access to this information, but we're not going to provide it to you. So what they're saying in the media and what they are willing to provide as proof does not meet up. And they do not want to provide that information. So we will be going to court shortly to get the information, to get a court order to get this information from Onderstepoort Biological Products. We do not need OBP. We do have excellent world-class private laboratories that can provide these vaccines. Unfortunately, we have Act 36 of 1947, which requires that the registrar gives approval for any new vaccines. And in case of some of these vaccines, they have been lying on the desk of the registrar for 20 to 48 months, where the registrar doesn't say yes or no, he just doesn't make a decision. And so it stays, the licensing stays with OBP. But do we have the experts in this country? Yes, of course we do. Unfortunately, we do not have the will from government side, from the minister's side, or from OBP side to assist the farmers. And we hope this will change, but unfortunately, then the crisis will be too far down the road.
Okay, let's see what is our current situation regarding the supply of vaccines from Onderstepoort, the facility. You have indicated that there are private labs that are also producing these vaccines. Would that mean that they're more expensive and that is why the farmers are not wanting to source from the private labs? Or are they on a par? And if they are on a par, then we don't have a problem per se. But what's our current situation like in South Africa? And my earlier question at the start of the interview was, does this only involve cattle or does it involve sheep and goats as well? And I ask that question because we here in South Africa, the South African Muslims, are going to be celebrating our Eid festival towards the end of June. And a lot of us are going to be sourcing animals for slaughter, cows, sheep, goats, etc., etc., etc. And that's a huge concern for us. Where do we stand on the situation?
Yeah, like I said, it's not just Blue Tongue and Rift Valley, and it affects all animals. It affects cattle, sheep, goats, and all of these animals have vaccinations that need to be completed, or for us to ensure that we have this closed animal system. The problem is not the price. Like I said, we have great private companies that want to provide it. In fact, they have already made the vaccines like Blue Tongue that is staying in storage. They just cannot sell it because they cannot get approval from the registrar. And we do have something in the Act that allows for emergency registration. We've done it before with other diseases. But like I said, the registrar just doesn't want to approve it. For this season on Blue Tongue vaccine alone, we are going to need about 10 million doses. I do not think that OBP will be able to provide it. Yes, every time they tell us, no, just give us 6 months or just give us 8 months or 12 months. And when we get there, they give us some other excuse of why they cannot produce it. But actually, they're just stringing us along, making excuses, and the farmers can't get access to the vaccines. So yes, a lot of it will be required. It's not just cattle, it will be sheep and all the other livestock. We have a huge issue with African horse sickness and the horse sickness vaccine at the moment. Horses are dying all around the country because there is no access to horse sickness vaccines. So it is a problem in general. And like I said, it's an animal health problem in this country.
Francois, two further important questions, short answers if you don't mind, please. So as you and I speak now, has Blue Tongue been contained, number one? And number two, Can the farmers source from private companies? Is there going to be a cost factor involved? Let me just throw another question in there, number 3. And is it being contained? And will this shoot up the price of livestock going forward with immediate effect?
No, I don't think with immediate effect there will be any price increases. In fact, the cattle and luckily, again, we are very lucky that there has not been an outbreak. It is contained as far as we know. Farmers can get access to it by private companies who have produced it, and not. Unfortunately, it's not for all vaccines. Only those that private companies have approval from the registrar. But at the moment, no, there is no sudden increase. In fact, the prices are very low, but that is because of economic conditions.
Finally, what can we as a general public do to put pressure on OBP and other such entities to make these vaccines available? Because they owe it to the nation, do they not? They are a
Yeah,
state-owned entity.
yeah, but it's the story of state-owned enterprises across South Africa. Yes, there's a lot being owed, but so like your previous guest said, we are very fortunate to have civic organizations in this country, and us as the Southern African Agricultural Initiative, we have members that fund us to ensure that we hold these state-owned enterprises accountable, and that's what we are going to do.
Francois Rossouw, thank you indeed for your insights on that matter. I was pretty concerned before I started the interview, but you have allayed our fears for now. But it is a story we will be watching closely. Thank you indeed, Cowell. God bless.
Thank you. Bye.
It is exactly 8:36 news and views right here on Salam Media. In a minute or two, we're going to be crossing over to Gaza, and we're going to be talking to Walid Mahmoud about a very, very worrying situation. Whenever we do cross over to Palestine, it's always an issue of concern. This time around, another very serious matter that we're going to highlight on the show this morning. So do stay with us right here on News and Views on Salam Media.